Welcome to the Mick, a Mook, and a Mike.
Hosted by four-time Emmy-nominated producer
Frank Mace and retired New York City firefighter, 9/11 first responder, and Vietnam vet, Billy O'Connor.
Today's guest,
Actor Tom Arnold.
My brother Frankie, how you doing, pal? I see you wearing the sweatshirt. How you got the
my Christmas gift from Mr. Derek. How are you doing, Derek?
top haberdasher?
How you doing, Derek, today?
I'm living life.
You look like you're living life. You got that skull cap on. You're gonna.
Boy, he's been holding this. Held it all in all morning. That's pretty good.
I didn't even hold it in. Billy said something, and I said, "Well,
As soon as I saw it, I thought the first thing I was thinking is your money or your life. Hey, you, this is stick in the face. Give me your money or your life.
welcome to another episode of Racist Wars, hosted by Billy O'Connor."
I can't be racist.
Hey,
Can I be racist?
who's our guest today?
Our guest is Tom Arnold today.
Tom Arnold.
And,
Tom Arnold?
The Tom Arnold. Yep. Yeah. Comedian, director, producer, apparently writer,
Actor?
actor. Yeah.
True Lies?
True Lies, great movie.
200 movies.
Well,
I was shocked. I didn't know he did 200 movies.
well, maybe he didn't. Maybe that was bullshit.
It was a misprint.
Maybe that was misprint. Well, we'll get to Tom in a little while. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little about my life.
Sure. This is really going to be first world problems here, Derek. What you do, fire the guy who was brushing your teeth this morning?
So, my wife's been driving a 2017 Q5 Audi.
Ooh.
2017.
Yeah, it's got like
Shocking.
80,000 miles off on it. I paid cash for it, so I didn't have any fucking payments on it. I'm living a good life. I figure, what the hell? My daughter calls and says, "Hey, Mom, I found a car for you." Oh, she says, "I'd like to get a new car," she says. Well, when she says it like that, what option do I have? So now there's a new Mercedes that you probably walked past it twice in the driveway.
So you bought your wife a new Mercedes.
Yeah.
Do I get the old car? What do you,
No.
You should give me the hand-me-downs.
My daughter got the old car because she had a.
So maybe that was your daughter's plot all along. Get Mom a new car.
Or maybe it was a double plot.
Maybe it was a triple plot because who knows? All I know is that I got a car payment when I had none because I didn't pay cash for this.
You got to grease it up a little bit, Frank. I think they're sending it home.
Anyway,
So let's go.
How's your life?
What year is it? So it's a brand new Mercedes.
2023 Mercedes.
Brand new.
I don't buy them new.
What is it? It's oh, look at that.
I don't buy them new.
A tip, guys. Tip.
It's got 8,000 miles on it. It was a loaner.
And what type of Mercedes is it?
Who knows? I can't even drive. I can't even drive the fucking thing. It's the state of the art. There's so many fucking gadgets.
Oh, it's like going into a cockpit of a plane or something
Yeah.
like that. There's fucking gadgets all over the place.
I'd rather have your fucking little Fiat.
He's after the Fiat. My son.
Really?
Off camera.
You have to aspire a little bigger.
No, he likes the stick.
Oh.
Yeah.
The stick.
Oh.
Stick, huh?
The stick. So what's your stick? That's something
You.
you had to go for
You.
you had to go for a brand new Mercedes.
Yeah. And I know my wife's never going to see this because she doesn't watch the podcast, so I can get away with it.
You're lucky. You don't watch it.
TJ Summers is in the hospital with a brain tumor.
Oh shit.
And he had an operation. And as he was coming out of the operation, he doesn't have any use of his left arm, but he has a use of a right hand. So I asked him, "How you doing?" He said, "I feel like I've watched a month's work of a Mick, a Mook, and a Mike." and I said to him, "You must have watched the two you were on."
Oh, good for you.
So,
good comeback.
Yeah, totally.
So all you people with brain tumors out there, you want to tune in?
So TJ, we wish you well and hope you get well soon.
Yeah. That's tough. That's a tough go, man.
So what else?
What else? My life is good. I got to go to the boat later and see if all this rain we've been having. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't care about rain. You're driving rain from New York. I laugh at people in California. They're pulling over because it's raining. I was fishtailing all over the place coming down here. I mean, looking at Tahoe. My son's girlfriend lives in Tahoe. He told me they're looking at it's going to snow for the next 36 hours straight.
Damn.
That's good for the snow base.
Yeah.
Crazy shit, though, man. I mean, it's in Northern California. They were talking about some places 10 feet, 100-mile-an-hour winds. The winds up by me in the mountains last night were crazy.
Good news is you're starting to foam at the mouth.
Oh yeah, but I have to get a bottle of water.
Oh shit! Bad news is
Take a couple.
I didn't record any of that.
You kidding?
That's good news. Wasn't that funny?
Just kidding. I like fucking with Frank.
Well, after the last couple of weeks, you know.
Talk to me, Frank.
Frank, he's getting
Yeah,
cutbacks.
you know,
Talk to me, Frank. Tell me.
You
Tell
must
me.
have watched the episodes you were on, you fucking lazy. No wonder they were fucking dumb.
Oh shit!
Frank is fucking firing on all cylinders.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
breaking balls.
Well, you try to break mine, I'll fire from the grassy knoll.
The roof tickets. What do they used to call them? Roof tickets.
Yeah, I'll fire from the grassy knoll. You know.
Yeah. Somebody's
Mystery
going to be
bullet.
behind it. I was saying, our guest today being Tom Arnold, I was thinking about that. I dating Roseanne. You're going out with Roseanne, but she had that hot show. It was like Pete Hamill said when he was dating Jackie Kennedy, said it was like taking King Kong to the beach. He said, everybody, fucking Jackie Kennedy, man. So, I mean, he must have went through a bit of that shit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, why don't we get Tom on the phone, Derek? Derek, can you bring on Tom Arnold?
Excellent.
Tom Arnold, how are you, my friend?
What's happening? What's happening?
I'm Frank Pace.
Oh gosh, hi Frank.
That's Billy O'Connor.
How are you, Tom?
Yeah.
Nice to know you.
I'm good.
That's Derek.
What's happening?
That's
What's happening?
Well, I think Caitlin Clark is happening.
Oh yeah, she's great. She's great.
Do you know her at all? Have you ever met her?
I do. I've got to spoke to the team, and when I stay in Iowa, the last few times I stay in the coach's basement. Coach Bluter, who's a friend of mine, and who've been over there a few times. Yeah, she's great person, great, very exciting player, good for the state. The whole team is good.
That's great.
Very impressed.
That's pretty remarkable. As I mean, of course, I know who you are. I always did know who you are. But as I'm doing research for the interview, I was surprised to see your background, how much you guys you overcame. I was a friend of Bill. I'm a friend of Bill W's as well.
Yeah, me too.
I went through a long way with Bill W.
Yeah.
And, Dad, besides being from Iowa, which is tough enough to overcome, all the shit that you've overcome is pretty remarkable.
Well, you do it on a daily basis. I did it yesterday, and I get up today, and then I work out today, and then hopefully it'll go well today, and then tomorrow we'll just do it again. It's pretty simple. I kind of live, and it's kind of the way I parent a day at a time, because my kids, I'm a single dad. My kids are 8 and 10. We have had some kind of a very long haul with, their mom with, police kind of things and court kind of things. And so I don't take anything for granted, which is probably a good way. Although it would be better to plan ahead a little bit. But because of my sobriety, each day you just, you get up, you get at it, figure out what's going on, figure out why am I depressed, or what's bothering me? Something has bothered me. And usually I can't, my old self would go to the end, the gloom and doom. Okay, it's over, whatever it is, everything's going to collapse, money problems, career problems, personal problems. And what I do is, if been because of the program, the 12 step, I say, okay, well, I'm going to do something today, something in that direction. It's overwhelming how many things I have to do to get to the end of that, to feel well, to get on top of this stuff. But I'm going to start by doing one thing, and usually the thing I don't want to do, the call I don't want to make, and so far, so good. We'll see. And I do talk to a lot of, this week I led a couple meetings with my fellow alcoholic addicts, and I certainly get a lot of inspiration from other people. Anytime someone says Bill W. like you just did, I'm like, okay, that's my meeting. I'm good. I don't have to drive out in the rain today. There it is. We're together.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell, totally obviously on the drug problem, but I have my drug problems myself and booze, and my drug of choice was always booze. Was your drug of choice booze, and then everything?
My first drug, booze was my first drug of choice. I grew up in a Tomo, Iowa, working class meatpacking farming town, and that's just the culture. By the time I was 12, we were drinking all the time, and it was funny because in my town, you either drank or you did drugs. You did not do both, and it was them and us. And my little sister, there's a documentary series about my little sister called The Queen of Meth. And my little sister was the biggest drug dealer in America. And people are like, was it embarrassing having your sister be a drug dealer? And I'm like, not when I was doing drugs, it wasn't embarrassing. It was kind of handy. And, I drank. I got arrested for drinking. I got arrested for fighting. I got arrested for drinking and driving. I got arrested for public nudity while intoxicated. I mean, I covered a lot of stuff before, I got out of high school. Like it was a rough thing. And then after high school, of course, I discovered drugs. And eventually I went, this alcohol is dragging me down. I just need drugs. So
you made me look like a fucking altar boy, and I was in the
well,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we all have help. We all have stories, and lucky to be alive, very lucky and happy. And so, stuff happens,
You went straight into stand-up, didn't you? Yeah.
Billy, well, you stand up. Yeah, well, here's the thing, stand up.
Billy went, the course Billy chose was going to Vietnam in 1968. When he got out of high school, you chose stand-up.
Yeah, that's a real smart move, right? You say, I'll go to Vietnam to get away from the drugs in the neighborhood. There's no drugs in
Vietnam.
And there you discovered sex. What'd you have?
I didn't discover sex. I knew about sex. But at $4 a piece, that's not buying sex. That's a scholarship,
Yeah.
When I was running around Bangkok, it was a whole different deal. But, I actually went to the Army thinking I was going to get away from drugs. I'll tell you a quick story. I was going up to get into the Army, and I'm walking up the street to take the train down for my enlistment, and I look over in a stoop. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's a guy sniffing glue on a paper bag, right? Paul Frehley. His name was Paul Frehley. And I said, yeah, poor Paul, man. A guy grew up with him in the neighborhood. He ain't going nowhere. I got a future. A year later, I'm crawling through rice paddies, and that's Ace Frehley, the fucking lead guitarist.
I know Ace, yeah.
And I'm saying he ain't got no fucking future, right? Yeah. Fucking sniffing glue. And then he got thrown out of KISS for doing too many drugs. How the fuck do you get thrown out of a rock band for doing too much drugs?
Well, two guys in the band don't do drugs. Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley.
Right.
They're clean livers. I think Gene's had a drink one time. Do you know my Peter Criss story? I should tell this right away.
Please.
Here's the story. When I got out of rehab the first time, and I went in December 10th, 1989. Haven't drank since then. I had a couple other things come up. But anyway, what I learned in rehab was they make you make a list of all the people you've screwed over. The people you got to make amends to. And that was a significant list for me. Let me tell you something. And then they make a list of the good things or whatever. And in my mind, when you die, God counts up the list of red check marks, the bad things, and then green check marks, the good things, totals it up, and it's either this way or that way. And I had a lot of red check marks. So what I learned in rehab, to this him, the best thing you can do is save another addict alcoholic's life. So I came out of there strong, like, I got to save somebody's life. And you can Google this story, unfortunately. I got to save somebody's life. This is how God works. I get home first day, I open up the National Enquirer, a very reputable magazine. And on the front page, it's one of my childhood heroes, Peter Criss, the drummer for the band KISS, the guy with the cat makeup on. He's a homeless alcoholic crackhead living under the Santa Monica Pier. Now, at the time I lived in Brentwood, and I had a Bentley and a Bullet, which I have neither now, and I had 20 minutes. And so I'm going to go down there and save a man's life, right? I'm doing real quick. That's my plan. So I get down there, park my car, start walking up the beach towards the pier, and I see a bunch of guys there. I go, have you seen Peter Criss? They're like, you got $20? I go, yeah, no. He's that way. I did that a couple times. And this is back in 1990, and the pier was, and not as glamorous as it is now. And they were doing construction under it, so it had tarps on the side and in the back. So it was basically a long crack tent, the pier, Santa Monica Pier. So I open up the back of it, and way at the very end is a guy with a 55-gallon drum and a drumstick, like, boy, and he still had fans in there. There's like, wow, okay. So I go up to that guy, and I say, hey, are you Peter Criss? And he's like, you got $20? I go, yeah. He goes, yes, I am. I go, well, this is your lucky day. I'm Tom Arnold. I'm here to save your freaking life, man. Now, I don't have time to save all these guys' life. I'm on a time crunch. So let's roll. So I pick him up, throw him over my shoulder, start walking out of there, and he is the meal ticket to all those other dudes, right? So they don't want me to take him away. So I end up in a fight with homeless people, like a bad. There's no ever good, way to fight homeless people. Just don't do it, because it looks bad. They'll scratch you. You get a staph infection. So I get him out of there, get him in my car. And I called New Beginnings over in Century City. That's the place I just got out of. And I go, great news. I got a new client for you guys. He's a VIP. I'm bringing him down. And they're like, whoa, no, we're not going to have a bed here for 72 hours. I'm like, oh, my God. I did not. How do I keep this guy alive? 72 hours. I got to get. So I go to across the street on Ocean down there, get a motel. I put him in there. I give him beer and food because I'm not a monster. But I tell him, no crack. There's no smoking whatsoever in this hotel. Please, no crack, no smoke. Anyway, of course, his buddies, I run down to work. His buddies start coming across the Ocean because they want to they want to smoke crack with him. And they keep doing it. And I have to go down there and kick him out. And I'm afraid I'm going to lose my deposit. And the second day of this, day 2, I get a call from a woman in Boston. And she's like, I am Peter Criss's ex-girlfriend, and I want to fly him to Boston to save his life. And I go, hold on. Here's the thing. Tomorrow, when I get him in rehab and get credit for saving his life, then he's all yours. But not until then. And you're like, how did she know in Boston that you, Tom Arnold, were saving Peter Criss's life? Well, there's something called anonymity that apparently didn't stick the first time I was in rehab. And I'd done an interview with Entertainment Tonight saying, yeah, Peter Criss is a homeless alcoholic crackhead living under the Santa Monica Pier over here. I'm Tom Arnold. I'm a good guy. I'm saving his life. So then the next day I go to pick up Peter Criss. And the hotel manager meets me out front. He goes, bad news, Mr. Arnold. A limousine came and took Mr. Criss to the airport a few hours ago. And I'm like, oh, my God, that woman in Boston, she went behind my back. Will I get half credit from God for trying to save his life? How does that work? But here's how God works again. 5 hours later, I get a call from the woman in Boston. She's like, oh, my God, he's here. He's throwing up all over the place, and he is not Peter Criss. Okay. Yeah, no, he did not have his cat makeup on, in my defense. So anyway, so now I'm in big trouble because I've not only assaulted homeless people, but now I've kidnapped a guy. And so I think I'm scrambling. That guy in Boston is screwed, by the way. He's not famous Peter Criss. He's nobody. Oh, my God, he's screwed because she wants him out of her house. And so I remember scrambling and I read in Rolling Stone magazine that I went, who's sober in Boston? And I read that Aerosmith was sober. So I call up Steve Tyler and Joe Perry and go, hey, I got a situation here. If you can let me ahead. And to their credit, man, they went over and saved that guy's life. That anonymous guy's life. That's how you're really supposed to do it. And so then I got arrested, of course. And when I was taking him across the street on Ocean down in Santa Monica, fake Peter Criss, he was all messed up, And a squad car pulls up, and they're like, hey, I go, no worries, boys. Please, it's my friend. It's his bachelor party. I will take care of this man. No worries. Anyway, then when the cops heard what really happened, then they came and arrested me. I got charged with several counts of assaulting and kidnapping a brand dude. And by the way, the real Peter Criss was stone cold sober. watching Entertainment Tonight with his mother and his kids. And I'm like, Peter Criss is a crackhead. Let me understand my turn. He's like, I know. I'm suing you for $50 million, which he did.
Oh,
so
Holy shit!
The cops, they take me down to Santa Monica there in the interrogation room, and they're so bad, as they should be. I lied to them. So they're like, your life is old, whatever. And then a detective comes in, and he goes, hey, can I have a minute with Mr. Arnold here, just alone here? And then he says, so you went down to the Santa Monica Pier by yourself to save a man's life. I mean, you screwed it all up. But that was your intention. I go, yes, that's how we do it. That's my intention. And he goes, I'll tell you what, you do that one more time, and we'll see about dropping some of these charges. And remember, I had Marty Singer as my lawyer, so and even Marty Singer's like, you're screwed. So you do that one more time, and we'll see about dropping some of these charges. And I go, I will absolutely do it. You name it. He goes, well, there's a cop from this division, and he lives in La Habra down there, and he's going to be dead by the weekend. And we legally can't go into his house and get him. I go, I'll go into his house and get him. 100%. And he said, well, he's got a lot of guns. I go, I don't care about guns. Does he have a dog? Because they're the wild cards, right? No dog, they tell me. So there's two cops, original guys, they drove me over there. We park a block away. And I said, I want to do it at 11 a.m. because as an addict, alcoholic, you're kind of rebooting at 11 a.m., right? You're not top of your game. You're making calls. You're doing this. I want that. They drew up what his house looked like once I got inside and where I knew he'd be in the living room, etc. So when I get out of the car, I start walking up the block. The one cop said to the other one, okay, when he kills Arnold, we're going to say it was a home invasion. Okay. So they gave you a battering ram thing, thing pretty handy. So I go to the cop store, bash the door in, and then all of a sudden, here comes a pit bull running right at me. I'm like, God damn it. And I turn to the side, and that dog just keeps on running because dogs know. That dog wanted out of that house, whatever's going on. So I come around the corner, hit the living room. There's a glass table there. The guy's got drugs and booze and everything. He's sitting there, and he looks up, and he said, what the F is Tom Arnold doing in my house? I go, I'm here to save your life, man. This is your lucky day. I'm saving your life. He goes, no, you're not. Gets up, takes a swing, but he's all messed up. So I get him out of there. All about, we take him to the hospital, and the miracle is that guy is still sober. That cop, all these years later. So that worked, and there's always some good things. And then Peter Criss, the real Peter Criss, I called Gene Simmons when I first heard about Peter Criss being a crackhead. I go, Gene, did you know Peter Criss is a crackhead? He goes, oh my God, I didn't know that. That's so sad. He hasn't toured with us for a long time. And so then I got to call him back next day. Hey, great news. Turns out Peter Criss is not a crackhead. And they ended up touring together for the first time in many years. So I feel like in a lot of ways I put the band together. But there's an episode of Donahue. And you guys remember Donahue. Watch it, Google it. It's horrible for me because it's me and my big fat face. Fake Peter Criss, real Peter Criss, that woman, and man, they go detail by detail. It's just horrible. But then I became friends with Peter Criss after that. That's a
hilarious story.
Yeah.
Speaking of piece by piece, why don't you take us from how you went from Ottumwa, Iowa? Happy birthday, by the way, coming up on March the 6th. How you went from Ottumwa, Iowa to stardom?
Well, I grew up in a meatpacking town. Everybody worked at the meatpacking plant, even us Jews. And it was a pork processing plant, but that was kind of the big job in our town. And I also had a single dad who I really appreciate now, I have to tell you. Because when he was 22, I was 4. My sister was 3. My brother was 1. And that's a lot. I always said, Dad, you're boring. You'd work, and then you come home or whatever. But, I really appreciate it a lot. And also, I got arrested a lot. My dad was a solid citizen, man. People loved him in our town. And they'd say, oh, I bet it bothers your dad that when you get arrested. And I was like, oh, no, he doesn't give a shit. And then the moment my son was born, I went, oh, no, he did give a shit, because you give a shit about everything. So growing up in this town, the one time we heard our dad laugh really hard, the one time would be when there was a Bob Hope special. And Bob Hope had these specials, where he'd go to Vietnam or Korea or whatever. He'd take a troop of people with him, beautiful women, and he'd crack jokes, a lot of double entendres. And that, my dad loved that. We'd hear him down there laughing. And I remember, whatever it is Bob Hope does, that's what I'm going to do. So I just thought, I started thinking, and I'd entertain at school, and I participated in drama and speech and everything, but I thought, if I could get on TV one time, that everyone in my hometown would like me, which is not true. But I do. Okay, I have to get out of this town. It makes no sense to have this dream in this town. I worked on the kill floor of the meatpacking plant for 3 years after high school to save money to go to college. I thought, I get to the University of Iowa, I'm home free because they have a stage. I get up there and do my stand-up comedy. I'll be famous in a week, which is nuts. But that's really what. And then one of the first things I did when I came to LA, I came here in 1988, was a Bob Hope special with Bob Hope, and we were dressed like Robin Hood and the Bear. We had tights on, and Bob Hope called my dad. And he sent my dad all this side stuff. I mean, it was such an amazing thing. I love the guy. So my dad.
Well, wait a second. Bob Hope didn't see you in Iowa. So where did Bob Hope see you?
Well, no. Once I come out here and was performing and doing things. Stand up. Yeah, and I was also writing the Roseanne show. I mean, my situation is this: first, I want to be a stand-up, and then someone says, "Hey, why don't you write some stuff?" Okay, now I'm a writer. And then they said, "Why don't you act?" Okay, now I'm an actor. But he knew me from that stuff, and he knew my ex-wife. But my dad in Iowa, in the same living room, same TV, where he used to watch Bob Hope when I was very young, watched me and Bob Hope. His son had grown up, and he's standing next to Bob Hope. So that, to me, is like one of those magical things. And then I was like, okay, I've reached all my goals. I have nothing else I want to do. But yeah, that was the impetus to get out and be a stand-up comic. I still do stand-up comedy. I love it. And so that's it's kind of these comedy, it's sort of an evergreen. It's sort of your pension. When everybody else is going to crap, you can do stand-up comedy. So that's how I got here.
I'm trying to tell Billy that, because Billy's background, he was a New York fireman. At 58, he decided to go back to college and take the plug out of the drug, as he says. At 62, he graduated from University of Florida with a journalism degree.
Good.
And in February, he went back to the stand-up stage in Phoenix, and he killed.
I got to ask you, your stand-up. I mean, do you tell? I mean, a lot of stories, because you just segued from that thing I said about Kiss, and you went right into a hilarious 10 minutes. Do you do a lot of stories when you're doing stand-up?
Well, yeah, I do, and you certainly triggered it. I was, when you first said the last name Freely, I was like, I wonder if that was related to Ace Freely. I mean, and then you're like, yeah, and so that's a perfect segue you gave me. Yeah, I do. I have jokes. I have a lot of. I guess I would be a storyteller. Considered, there's guys that tell joke.
One-liners, one-liners.
Yeah. But you like them opening up for you, because they open up for you, like Fraser Smith this week.
I know Fraser, good guy.
Joke. Yeah, good guy. But he does joke,
right.
And that's what you want. You want a little different. Everybody, you want to see different vibes, different energy, and so I like watching guys like that too.
Well, you got Dave opening for you now, Dave Pursue, right? Dave.
Yeah, Dave is a guy that I met. I did a show at the San Jose Improv on a Wednesday, and I'd had luck doing these one-nighters around different. And the San Jose Improv, it was not, I don't think people go downtown on Wednesdays. That's what Dave told me anymore, for whatever reason. But he was a very nice guy and said, hey, listen, I think we could do some other shows together. And I said, hey, yeah, I have a lot of legal bills for all this kid stuff. I'm up for it. And there was a strike again. I'm up for it. And I said, well, let's try one. And we did. He set up something down in Bakersfield that went very well. And he said, well, maybe you could come up here and do these shows in San Jose and Sacramento. And I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it. And you meet people, and sometimes they say, well, I can do all this stuff, and you give him a chance. But he's a solid dude, He's a good dad, a solid dude too. So it's fun.
So
It's fun.
let me ask you a question. What was it like in the writer's room of Roseanne? And then how did you become an actor on Roseanne?
Well, it was good. I had started writing jokes for Roseanne. We met when I was 23 in the Midwest doing stand-up before she was famous. She was a comic out of Denver, and I'd moved to Minneapolis to do comedy because they had 5 clubs back then, And she came, and the club owner's like, I saw a woman in Denver. You guys got to hit it off, and I want you to do the show together. And we did. We did hit it off. And I thought she's older than me, but I liked that she was a mother and she was very outspoken, very liberal at the time, not a Trump person. And I thought it was interesting. I never heard people talk about feminism. I came from the meatpacking plant, and I think she saw me as I'm a 6'2". I think she saw me as a guy that would stand up for her, which I did, and whatever it took. But about 1984, 85, she said, hey, would you start, my character, would you start writing jokes for me? And I was like, yeah, that was the first time I written for anybody else. And she went on Johnny Carson in 1985 the first time.
Correct.
And I remember sitting around with my friends back in Minneapolis and killed. And did a couple of jokes I'd written, and that felt good. I was like, oh, that's how that works. You write stuff, people do it. And so then I was a writer, and then when in 87, she had a HBO special and asked me to come out and play her husband on it. And her dream husband. And she was still married. And then in 88, she started the show. And at first I was going to be, she wanted me to be the husband on the Roseanne show. And I'm like, I don't think I got, surely there's someone better. And we went in and met the other producers, and I really just wanted to write. I knew her character, and I'd have her back. And so what ended up happening is I hired a bunch of writers for the show. I hired comedians because I knew they were funny, and then I would teach them to write the form, the sitcom form. You can't teach funny, but you can teach them, okay, how many acts it is, what has to happen at this thing. And then I also had a lot of respect for the old time Hollywood guys. So myself and another executive producer, Jay Daniel, half the staff would be, we had a big staff, would be guys that had worked in Hollywood, written for shows, and then half would be these new guys that I had worked, Norm Macdonald, all these different people, all these young female writers who got on to huge success. And that combination really worked on the show. And I did that for 6 years. The second year of the show, the writer's like, dude, you're dating Roseanne now. Yeah, you got to be on the show. People will watch that. And I remember I was very nervous. I was nervous for her, too. Like, if I screw this up, it's going to be bad for her. But it was fun. We wrote something good, and then I just started also appearing on the show. And by the way, then in those days, 48 million people watched the show.
Yeah.
And the first night I was on anyway. And that's a lot. That's at least 10 times as what watches it now. So it was a different world. 3 networks. Fox wasn't even on. It was 3 networks and different world, a lot of fun.
Different world. I remember when I was producing Head of the Class, we went off the air in year 6 when we were ranked 26th. That's how.
Yeah.
We had 20. Yeah. We had 25 million people watching a week, and we went off the air because we had fallen from number 9 to number 26.
If you got that now, you'll be on the cover of every magazine in the country, right? If you're going to 25 million people were watching.
Yep.
Incredible.
Yep. So from Roseanne, in 3 years, you went to Arnold Schwarzenegger's co-star?
Well, I started the Roseanne show in 88, and then in 93, 5 years. 5 years. I'd done some roles in movies. My first scene was with Dustin Hoffman in a movie called Hero that Stephen Frears directed, and kind of started crossing over and doing that kind of stuff. I had a sitcom I really loved, the Jackie Thomas show, which is another example. Roseanne was number 1. When you follow the number 1 show, you better be number 2. Yep. And we were at first, and then it went down to, I think, number 7. They wanted to change the show, and I'm like, forget that. I'm not going to change. But I started doing some things. And at the end of 1993, our agents at William Morris thought we were leaving William Morris. And so they were scrambling. And so my agent, John Burnham, called and said, because I was aware of the movie True Lies was going to be made. And I was aware of the part that I ended up getting. And I knew real actors were auditioning for that part, like real people. And he called and said, hey, James Cameron wants to meet you for this part on in True Lies. And I knew that was bullshit. I'm like, it's a mercy meeting. What happened? What really did happen?
Mercy meeting.
William Morris called him up and goes, please, we've done a lot of business with you. I know you're not going to cast this guy, but just meet with him as a favor to the agency. So I almost didn't go to the meeting. But then I'm like, that's too embarrassing. But then I was like, well, I want to meet James Cameron. I want to meet Jim Cameron. This will be my only chance in my life to meet Jim Cameron. So I went over there and went to his office, and we're sitting there talking. Very nice guy, very smart guy. And then after a while, he's like, okay, do the audition scene. And I said, yeah, I didn't even read it. I said, he's like, why? I go, no, I know I'm not getting the part. So it seems less disappointing if I don't even try. And he's like, oh, that's, he goes, well, it's 3 pages. You're here, whatever. I go, okay. So I read 3 pages of my character. And he was like, huh. And then he yells, get Arnold down here. I didn't know Arnold Schwarzenegger was upstairs in the loft at the time. And so I see Arnold Schwarzenegger walking down the stairs, to join Jim and I. And Jim Cameron said he cast me because when Arnold was walking down the stairs, I looked at him and said, I could take him. Like, you are the guy. You size him up. We're both 6'2". Yeah, I think I can take him. And then Arnold came and we did the show together, the scene together one time. And it was good. It was very magical. Jim filmed it and said, that's it. You got the part. I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic news. He goes, but here's the thing. You can't tell anyone for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, I won't tell anyone the best news of my life for 2 weeks. I swear to God. So I get out to my car. I start calling everyone. Nobody believes me. Nobody believes me. My own wife thinks I'm back on drugs. And I'm like, and that night in front of my mirror, I look at myself in the mirror and go, maybe that didn't happen because that is so crazy. That doesn't maybe I'm losing it. Why would he ask me to wait 2 weeks to tell anyone? Now, I didn't learn the reason why until after the movie came out. But Jim had to go down to Fox Studios. It was the most expensive movie I ever made at the time. And give them the good news. And he goes down there and he talks to them. He goes, hey, great news. We found the third guy after Arnold and Jamie Lee, and we can start filming True Lies right now. And they're like, that is fantastic news. Who is it? And he's like, it's Tom Arnold. And they're like, yeah, that's horrible news. And he's like, why? And he said, don't you read the tabloids? He's a crazy person, And Jim Cameron's like, no, I don't read the tabloids, but I wrote the movie, and he is the guy. And they're like, we're very sorry, Jim. We cannot approve Tom Arnold for this movie. And Jim Cameron's like, actually, I'm the one that's sorry, he said, because I wanted to make the movie here at Fox, and now I'm going to go down the street and make it at Paramount. And they're like, huh, okay, well, maybe we'll give him a chance.
Wow.
Day-to-day, yeah, that's so awesome. I didn't know that, but that's true. And so every day when the Fox execs would come to the set, I'd be hugging them and saying, hey, thanks for loving me. I'm just crazy. And then also, I was going through a divorce from Roseanne at the time, so I was pretty sure I was going to lose that job. And what happened is we get divorced in April of 1994. And everybody in Hollywood said, that guy will never work again. He rode her coattails. He's going to be back in Iowa in 2 weeks. And I remember thinking, that's probably true. That's probably true. But I can tell my grandkids I worked on one of the best television shows ever for 6 years. That seems like a pretty good story to take back to Iowa. And Jim Cameron and Arnold like, F those people. True Lies comes out in a couple of months. It's going to change everything. And I was like, I wish I could believe that. But it really did. It really did. And I'll tell you, in fact, I found out later when they tested the movie the first time, a couple hundred people go into a theater. Right. They don't know what they're going to watch. And all of a sudden it comes up, a James Cameron movie, yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah. Tom Arnold, boo. People boo. But at the end of the movie, they fill out these cards like, what character did you like the most? And most of them like my character the most. And so in a 2 hour and 15-minute movie, it changed how people who didn't know me hated me, and the people who don't know me, now they love me. They think I was great. So it was very helpful. and I'm eternally grateful for that.
And you stayed friends with Arnold to this day, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. He's and that's another thing. It was a huge hit. We all stayed friends, and I was like, I bet all movies are like this. It turns out no movies are like this.
No.
But we're friends. Jamie Lee's. We're all friends. Jim, and very grateful. I'm doing Arnold's Fubar. He has that show on Netflix. I did an episode last year, and now they're coming back. I think we're going to do more episodes. So it's been a great thing for me, and Arnold's an inspiration too. He always told me, you got to be of service, man. You got to be of service. We're very lucky, and so we do a couple big charities together every year. We give out 10,000 gifts down at a police station in South Central, and to kids that don't get any gifts, and we give out turkeys and whatever it is with him. And it's funny because our relationship in True Lies is our real relationship, sort of. And anytime we get on stage, Arnold's very funny, and he loves comedians. He always has, and gets up there, and sometimes we go off the rails, being mean to each other. But I'm very, very lucky. He's an inspirational guy.
You still go to the Havana Room?
I do. I was down there a couple weeks ago. That place, when it opened, was hot. I had a locker and all this stuff, and everybody. But I do go down there, not as often, but I do get down there and have meetings and see some of the old guys. We're old guys now.
Yeah.
But I had birthday parties there back in the day, and it's a nice place, great place.
Well, Rosario Rivetto said to say hello to you.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's a good guy.
We talked about. You and I played softball together against each other when I was with Suddenly Susan, and you were with Best Damn Sports Show. I remember one game you brought fucking what the hell's the guy from the Phillies outfielder from
John Kruk. He was on the show.
You brought him to play.
Of course.
You brought a ringer. We brought a ringer. Of course, our team was full of ringers. Of course.
Yeah.
But Rosario.
We had. Ken Griffey Jr. was on he came and played. Now, here's the thing. John Kruk, if you look at what I loved about him being one of my co-hosts, he was funny. I'd seen him on Letterman. And if you look at him, you're like, oh, that guy's chubby. He's not an athlete. And John, but these athletes, that's what I learned from them. Sometimes you look at them, you size them up like, he's about my size. I bet I could do what he does. But no, they have a magic. And they're all fun and games until they get competing. And then something turns on. John Kruk was our shortstop. He was left-handed, big guy, and he was amazing. And he could also hit the ball out anytime he wanted. And, I played in the Rocket Jocks where they had an actor and all these legitimate athletes for MTV. And I won the MVP twice in that because actors tend to be not great athletes, musicians, actors. But we could bring, it was unfair. I remember we had to have a certain amount of women. And so the head writer, Jerry, would go to a strip club the night before and bring those women that work there, although they were physically gifted, like they're super strong, And then we had these professional athletes, and people would be like, what the hell? That's, professional baseball players, professional, but that was great fun playing them. Those games were fun, weren't they?
I heard you went to a Yankee game one day and you would spent the whole time signing women's breasts. Is that true?
Well, I'm not sure if that's true, but I would do that now. I'm sure. David Wells, Boomer. I was in his wedding. He's a great character, a great guy. And we spent a lot of time together. Very nice guy. And what I love about David Wells, he's sort of an innocent guy in a way. He'll go to, say he wants to go see a little concert somewhere. And then I've talked to a couple of people. I have a buddy from Chicago, and he's like, I got him tickets or whatever. And he sat right in the front row in the middle and genuinely loved it. He's capable of being a fan. This guy is a great baseball player, did exciting stuff. Really is, and it's an important thing to have in your life where you can be a fan of something greater than yourself. You don't go, okay, I'm everything. There's no way to be a fan of this guy or that guy. And it's a thing that I've got my kids doing. I said, you got to be a fan of other. You can't go, oh, it's just this guy. I'm the top of the whatever. You got to enjoy other people and other music and comedy or whatever it is, the other stuff, it makes life a lot better.
What comics make you laugh?
Oh, guys, there's a lot of comics that make me laugh. I think next week, the week I get back from up there, Jim Jeffries is very funny. He's an Australian comedian. Yeah, we're doing shows together at the Ice House there. He's very funny. He's got a kid my son's age, Hank, and so I knew him from school. I've always loved his act. There's a lot of very, very funny women. What I find is, they'll do these lineups for each. Tonight I'm at the Ice House too, and I'll do the Improv tomorrow. And you get in there and you see the lineup. It's usually 6 people. And it'll be Bobby Lee, who I think is freaking hilarious, and all these different comics and with different energy. And I think that's one of the better things about comedy that's changed. It used to be you got booked $12 at the Improv or the Comedy Store or whatever. It was kind of but now they have producers. They're actually comics, but they're producers. They'll book a 2-hour block of each place, and they pay you a little more money, but they also put together this eclectic group of comedians. And, there are so many funny, Nikki, what's her name? She's
Glazer?
Yeah, God, she is so freaking funny. Just so funny.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. There's a bunch.
You talked before about when we did the Steven Tyler thing, how he went to rescue the fake Peter Criss or whatever.
Yeah.
And you got stories about Robin Williams being like that too. When I did stand up, everybody has a good story to say about Robin Williams. Nobody has a bad word to say about him. No,
Robin was was a hero, but it was also part of my group, And Robin, when I was on the kill floor of the meatpacking plant, I remember More Committee was on, and I was chiseling heads. That's a pretty good job there. The head meat's really important, so you got to be really careful. And I was daydreaming that I was best friends with Robin Williams. And I got home that night, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I got that daydream. I will never meet Robin Williams. I live in Ottumwa, Iowa. It's too disappointing to have that be a daydream. I got to go another direction. So, and then 10 years later, I'm in Rob Williams' house up in San Francisco, and we're getting ready to start a movie, 9 months, which is one of my better movies too. And it's Robin Williams, Hugh Grant, Julianne Moore, Jodie Cusack, Jeff Goldblum. Robin is hosting us because we're filming in San Francisco, a place that he loves. And by the way, everything good you've ever heard about Rob Williams is true and more. And if I called him at 3 a.m. and said so-and-so's in trouble, he'd be like, let's go get him, whether he knew him or not. He was a saint. So, but we're sitting there, and at the end of the dinner, it's just Robin and I at the table. And I'm like, hey, buddy, I have been here before. And he's like, in my house? I go, no, me, you, best friends. And he's like, we are not best friends. I go, I know, but it's close enough to my dream. It is really close enough to my dream. But Hugh Grant and I were best friends. And that's weird because, he's a British actor. He just done 4 weddings and a funeral. I just done True Lies, so we had a little juice going. And we went out, Hugh Grant and I went out every night. And we were high-fiving, and I love you, man. All the best friend, what men do with their best friends. Madonna came to town. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, all you want, brother.
Okay, this is true. This is true. All these are true stories. You can Google. Madonna came to town and put on a little private concert in a small place for her new album. That's what we used to call them. And invited Hugh Grant and I to be her special guests. She invited Hugh Grant. I drove. It doesn't matter. So we go watch Madonna. We're going to see Madonna. So we see the concert, and then she invites us backstage. Would you gentlemen like to come backstage and hang out? We're like, you fucking right, Madonna. We're going to hang out with Madonna backstage. So as soon as we get backstage, Hugh Grant and Madonna have instant chemistry, and they're all over each other. And after a little while, Madonna's like, would you gentlemen like to come up to my suite and hang out? We're like, you damn right, we would like to come up to your suite. And then I'm getting on the elevator with you. And I said, wait a minute. I swear to God, my feelings will not be hurt if I get out of this elevator right now and go back to the hotel by myself. And he's like, Tom, do you or do you not want to see me fuck Madonna? I go, well, of course I do. But I didn't want to be a weirdo about it. He's like, stick around, mate. About 10 minutes, I'll be fucking Madonna. Oh, my God. So we get up to a room. It's the biggest suite I've ever seen. It's amazing. And she's like, gentlemen, make yourselves at home. I'm going to go in that room and freshen up. And like Hugh Grant and I are just taking it in. We can't believe how lucky we are. Hugh grabs a bottle of $200 champagne and chugs it. And we're making ourselves home. And there's a giant white sheet cake there. And so I go over and cut the quarter piece with the most frosting and just start eating it. And we're taking it in. And all of a sudden, Hugh Grant's like, 3 o'clock. Do you see what I see? I go, yes, that's Madonna's Louis Vuitton luggage. She goes, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, yes, let's steal some shit out of there. So we go over and we're just loading our jackets and pockets up with their stuff. And also behind us, I hear, what are you assholes doing? And I turn around and she's like, what the fuck? You're eating my brother's birthday cake? We're going to surprise him with that tonight. I go, don't worry. I'll put this piece back. I'll kind of make it work. She goes, get the fuck out. You guys are idiots. I go, no, I'm an idiot. You still have sex with Hugh Grant. Just get the fuck out of here. She kicks us out, runs us through the hall, slams the door behind us. And I'm like, damn, Hugh, I'm so sorry. Now you don't get to fuck Madonna. And he's like, mate, everybody fucks Madonna. We just stole her fucking spoons, man. That's a much better story. So the last day of a movie, you do something called a press junket. You get a hotel room like in the Four Seasons over there, whole floor. Every actor gets their own room side by side, and 100 reporter types will come by room to room and ask you the same questions over and over. It's not their fault. That's what you got to do to promote. But you got to make your own fun here, too. And Hugh Grant, did I mention he was hilarious?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of it. It's always Entertainment Tonight. I'm in the middle of an interview with Entertainment Tonight, and Hugh Grant walks right in front of the camera and goes, hey, Tom, are you getting a hooker tonight? And I'm like, what the fuck? I don't get hookers. I'm married, I think. You get hookers. No, you do. No, you do. The Entertainment Tonight producer's like, boys, relax. Do not worry. We will never play that clip on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, sure.
Unless one of you gets arrested with a hooker tonight.
Wow!
And what are the odds of that happening? Well, pretty fucking good, it turned out. So after our interviews, we had to go for a little going away dinner. And so I tell Hugh Grant, listen, there's a Dodger game Tuesday. I got to fly up to Toronto for 48 hours, but let's keep this thing going. And he's like, I don't understand. Our movie's over. I go, yeah, I know movie's over, but we don't have to go to a game. We could do something else. And he's like, oh my God, Tom, did you think we were friends? He goes, no, don't be offended. You can't be friends with everybody you do a movie with, Tom. We're vagabonds. We're show business friends. I'll see you in a year and I'll give you a hug. And that was hurtful. But, I'm learning the rules of show business, so I'm like, whatever. Anyway, I landed in Toronto at 6 a.m. I get an emergency phone call from my publicist. She's like, oh, my God, did you hear what happened to Hugh Grant last night? I'm like, holy hell, did he die? And she's like, worse. Much worse. He was arrested with a prostitute. And I know Hugh very well. I'm his best friend. So I'm like, man or woman? He can't, he's British. He's British, and you can't tell. So I just said Hugh Grant beeps into my phone. He's like, bloody hell, mate, where are you? You won't believe what happened last night, mate. I just got a fucking jailbait. Oh, my God, we got to get together and think of a lie to tell Elizabeth. And I'm like, did you think we were friends?
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's great.
That's terrific.
That's fucking
Hey, on a segue completely something completely different. You were cover of Men's Health in what year was that? 2022. Tell us about that. The loss of weight.
Well, here's the thing. In 2022, I'm giving the kids I gained so much weight during COVID. Oh, because the kids were homeschooled, and when you only take your shirt off in front of your kids, there's no pressure. Like there's no peer pressure, there's no woman pressure. And I grown a beard because, as you know, beards are sweatpants for the face, and so you really only look at my. And I was very big, and I was in the other room, and it's hard to get the kids in the bathtub sometimes. School night, so I say first one in the bathtub wins. They're very competitive. They both get in. I say, okay, I'm gonna let's spray everybody down. Get this. We'll do a quick one, and then it's hard to get them in the bathtub, but it's harder to get them out once they're playing. So I do the thing. I turn around to the bathroom door and I count to 10, and whoever gets out first wins. Okay. So I turned around to count 10, and when I turned back around to the kids, my right eye felt like a curtain came down. And I thought, well, maybe I punched myself in the eye when I had it up here, and I'm not sure what it is. It feels a little funky, but I get him in bed, and by that time, half of my vision came back, the upper half of my right eye. And so I'm supposed to fly to Fairbanks, Alaska the next morning to start a show. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll just deal with it up there, you know. And then I thought, well, no, I'm a single day. I got to check it out. So I couldn't figure out what it was on Google. But so I called my eye doctor. I go, on the way to the airport, I want to stop by and see what's up. And he shoots some dye at me. And he comes back and says, "You've had a stroke." I go, "Oh, shit." I always knew I was going to hear that, but you don't want to hear that. You know, shoot. And he goes, "You've had a small stroke. You got to go over to UCLA right now for 24-hour stroke protocol." So I'm like, crap, I got to push the start of my show. And I go over there, you put you on a table, and then there's a list of strokes, 1 through 10. And they go, "Which stroke did you have?" And I was like, thank God, 1. I had a 1 stroke. And because you get to like number 7, it's bullshit, man. And so they put me on blood thinners. I stayed over. I tested everything to see if it was something bigger. And I'd been considering losing weight before that. And I met a guy at Arnold Schwarzenegger's, Charles D'Angelo, who works with big people, big size people. He works with doctors. He works with young people. But a lot of doctors work with this guy, which is a good sign. So I called him up after 3 years after I met him, and I said, "I think I'm ready to start working out, doing what you do." And he's a food coach, and and so he said, "All you have to do is every 2 weeks we'll Zoom. You got to weigh yourself in the morning, send me that, and then you have to do exactly what I say. You have to eat what I tell you, when I tell you, this amount of cardio, and this. And by the summer, the first time I'd done the Arnold Fubar True Lies-esque show, I knew I was doing it in the summer. And he said, "Do you have a goal?" I go, "I'd like to be my original True Lies weight when I do that show. And I want to live too." So he goes, "You can do that. You can lose 80 pounds by the summer." I'm like, in 6 months, that's impossible. But I said, okay, I'll just do what the guy says. So I get up every day. I work out. I do an hour of cardio, which is a lot. I build up to that on the elliptical out here. I have this protein shake that he has. That has 6 little different size meals during the day, and it ended up working. I followed his trend. I lost. In fact, I was trimmer than I was for the movie True Lies. And so, and I'm still working on that. I'm still, doing this thing with him. But that was pretty life-changing. Wow. And I recommend not waiting until you have a stroke to do something. But, I'm very lucky and still do that. It's good for my head to work out, And the kids I used to blame my kids that I couldn't work out because they'd be like, needed something or they'd be I put my headphones on and be on my elliptical, and all of a sudden they'd appear in front of me like arguing, he did this, and I have to stop. But I sat kids down and said, "Here, Dad had a stroke. Here's the deal. I got to get this weight off for my mental health, for us, for our family." And the kids now will let me work out for a little bit. And I remember once my son was in front, and my daughter's asking, "What, Dad, I need something." And my son's like, "Hey, Dad needs to work out for his mental health." And hearing that from a 9-year-old is or 8-year-old at the time was pretty cool. And that is very true. I do need to. So and I did a men's health game and filmed a bunch of stuff, me working out, not like your standard thing. I'll tell you this, before True Lies started, James Cameron's like, how would you like Arnold Schwarzenegger to come over to your house and train with you in your unused home gym? And I was like, I think that'd be fine if the greatest bodybuilder that ever lived would come to my house and train with me. So the first day, Arnold, I answer the door at 6 a.m. and I'm like, "Oh shit, Arnold, I forgot you're coming." Oh damn! Everyone I've ever met is here, guys. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Can you believe it? So point me. Where's my gym? So we train together, and then that afternoon, Jim Cameron calls. "So what time do you want Arnold there tomorrow?" And I go, "I don't." And he's like, "Why?" I go, "Well, now number one, I can say I worked out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but number two, he's the best. He tries to help you. He really genuinely tries. He cares. He knows more about the human body than anybody. And it's too much pressure." I said, what he does, he walks in, he looks at you up and down, which makes me uncomfortable by anybody doing that. And he has to compliment one body part. Give you one compliment. He looks at me up and down and goes, "Tom, you have fantastic right shin. And then he starts on my trouble spots, and I got a lot of trouble spots. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah.
Now, Charles D'Angelo was his trainer too, as well as yours?
No, he was a guy. You meet a lot of trainers or bodybuilders or physically fit people at Arnold. And one of the charities Arnold and I hosted for After School All-Stars at his place, Charles was there and, came up and said, hey, if you're ever interested in this, I was like, yeah, sure. And then I kept pushing him off until I really needed him. But he's great. He's out of St. Louis. He does kids and a lot of doctors and people I know out here. And there's no excuse. It's easy. He's like a food coach, and you talk about why you're eating, and then you do this work. And you don't have to go pump iron with him. He's huge. He's a huge, he's physically fit like crazy. So, but you do what you can to get the weight off, to stay alive. And I'm very grateful that he helps me out.
Derek, you have any questions?
I do. So the first question I have is Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys are friends, so he's not an industry friend. He's not. No,
show business. Okay. No, he's not a show business friend. Yeah. And you don't need that many real friends. As you get to different things in your life, and things happen. Like me being a single dad when I'm almost 65 with 2 little kids. I don't have a lot in common with guys that are my age. Okay. And people are always like, you should date someone your own age. And I'm like, have you seen people my age? They're fucking disgusting. Right? And, but I have, here's my advice. Have the 3 friends you grew up with. Okay. Yep. That'll bail you out of jail naked, no questions asked. I still have those friends.
Yep.
Great.
And then you do make friends along the way in this business. And, if you're lucky, you do, and you have a little group of friends for different things. And if you're in recovery, you have a lot of friends. You have a lot of, so that's how it goes.
Okay, and then the next question is parenting. Do you have any parenting philosophies? How are you raising your kids?
Well, first of all, it's on. You can say, I want to have kids. And, I said that many years. I had a late start in life, but it genuinely is on. I listen to, the best thing I give my kids is my time and attention. And that means time. Like when my daughter was 18 months old, I used to come home from something, and I hosted this concert. I felt pretty good about myself for Music Cares. It's a group that supports musicians that are struggling, and felt good. And I came home, and a babysitter went home, and then I went into my office downstairs, and I used to do this a lot. I'd get in my office, get on the computer, log on, sports, whatever, politics, and suddenly it'd be 6 hours later. This night I looked here, and it's my 18-month-old daughter, and I don't know how she got downstairs because there's a gate up at the top stairs. She found her way all the way downstairs and in my office, and she said, Daddy, come to bed. I go, oh, no, honey, I will in 5 minutes. You got to go back to bed right now. I'll be up there in 5 minutes. And so I go back to my thing, and I look, oh, my God, she's still there. And I looked at her, and I realized she knows every lie I've ever told. I didn't know I was lying just then, but she did. And I'm like, okay, that's it. So I go up, and from then, with my kids, if I say 5 minutes, they'll put me on a timer. They'll get the phone out. So I don't say 5 minutes. I say, what do I really need to finish this activity? Then I can focus on them. Well, it might be 8 minutes, it might be 12, but we do it. And then all these things you do, whether it be putting Band-Aids on them, which is, I recommend having a lot of Band-Aids. It's not because they have cuts or anything. It's the act of putting a Band-Aid on your kid. Yeah. And doing that takedown. Because eventually they'll be putting Band-Aids on you. But it's the same way with if they come home from school. I go, homework? Okay, I'll do it in 5 minutes, they used to say. I go, really? I'm going to put it on. Okay, give me 25 minutes. Okay, we'll put you on the timer. And so there's a lot of things come around. Also, don't assume that you know what your kid's up to, because, he must be like I was when I was a kid, because you're wrong a lot of times. And the one thing, we have 21 cameras inside and outside the house because they're mom and police stuff, but those cameras are very helpful because when something goes wrong, first of all, I lose a lot of shit. You can find it. I go, I think I had it in my hand in the kitchen, and the kids will get on there and track it. But, if there's a controversy in the house, much like when the police would come, and they'd say, well, I go, first of all, she doesn't live here, but she said, you did this or that. I said, come on in, let's watch the tape, and then they'd find her. Yeah, and they'll show the replay. And we do that with the kids. If they went fight, who started the fight? He did, and we sit down calmly at the table and watch it. And I can see it's enlightening for them too. And also as a parent, you forget how big you are. My son is head taller than everybody in his class, but he's in 4th grade. And there's been times where I've raised my voice. And to see what that looks like, you're like, okay, I got to back that off, because that's what it looks like from his point of view. So, there's a lot. I just want to be a better parent any way I can. I ultimately have to make my own decisions. So one good thing about not having to co-parent with someone is you do what you want to do, what you think is best. And I can tell you the results. They're doing good at school. They're good, sweet people. They've got good friends, which is really important socially. They play sports. My son is huge. He plays football. My daughter plays soccer and gymnastics. And, you show up. And what the truth is, by the time they're 12, 75% of the time they're ever going to spend with you is gone.
Yep. Wow.
And so at first I was worried about being an older dad. My daughter will say, Daddy, how old will we be when I go to college? And I'll go, 75. And she goes, I'm not going to college. She's like literally never left my side. And that's my girl, I say. But, you get, when you have this sort of conflict going on all the time with things in court and stuff, and it's not helpful to anyone. Even when you win all the time, it's still expensive, it's stressful, it's whatever, and the kids feel it. But your time and energy, and so far, and I'm told that when they're teenagers, they will hate me. And I tell people, I will be so old when they're teenagers, I won't notice it. Like it's each day is an opportunity to parent, and some days I screw up, and then I try to be better the next day. They will. I would tell you, the boys will repeat. I heard my son playing at Fortnite with his friends, and they get on the Fortnite, and I heard him say, "Fuck that," and I come busting in there. I go, "What?" I go, fuck that. Where'd you hear that? Like the same cadence of how I said it. And you realize, oh, I am the one. And he doesn't realize it. I tell them, these things you say to your friends, if anybody outside of the house or at school hears this, you will not have any friends. I talked to the other dads like, well, are you aware? They go, yeah. And I used to shit talk my friends when I was young, my little brothers. But you got to be aware, there's a place for all of this. And, so yeah, I just keep at it, and so far, very lucky.
Excellent. I got one more question. Okay, so you're from I assume an obscure town in Iowa.
Well, it's not obscure. We have a meat packing plant there. What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay,
kill room. I'd like to know about that fucking kill room.
Obscure would be the place you grew up in Mississippi.
That's true. More obscure, probably. So what advice would you give for someone or to someone from a town like you were to get to where you are today?
Well, you got to be a little crazy. You got to go, oh, there's a thing that I want to do that nobody has ever done here. But I believe it's possible, and I'm willing to do anything to do it. I'm willing to work shit jobs. I'm willing to sleep on people's couches. I love this thing, this performing, stand-up. Yeah, I love it so much that I'm going to do this. And you got to keep your faith. During my 3rd year at the meatpacking plant, I still hadn't saved up money for school. And I remember looking around at people. That's a good job in Ottumwa, Iowa. The Hormel at the time was the name before they broke the union. And that was a good job. And I see people loving it, having fun there. And I would think, how do they do that? Well, they have families. And I thought, well, maybe I should just be like my grandpa, worked there 50 years. Maybe that's really, I should consider myself lucky there. But because nobody gets from Ottumwa, Iowa to Hollywood. It's impossible. How would that even happen? And that night I went out to our little disco there, the Jailhouse Disco in Ottumwa, Iowa, which, by the way, my parents ruined because they brought all their friends down there one night for line dancing. And we were like, okay, that's over. Whatever was cool about it is gone. So I was like, oh, I need to give up on this thing. And that night I went out, and I came out of the bar, and on the corner was Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman was standing on the corner in Ottumwa, Iowa. People all gathered around him, and he'd been practicing transcendental meditation in Fairfield, Iowa, which is 20 miles away. They have the Maharishi International University there, and he'd stopped by Ottumwa because we had a women's wrestling event at our Coliseum. You know, and wrestling is huge where I'm from, and women's wrestling is huge. And he went to the event and had paid the women to stay later to wrestle him. He was doing a wrestling thing where he wrestled women all over the country. Very funny. And then he took everybody in school buses, all the audience, to Happy Joe's Pizza. And I remember thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to be successful enough that I can take everybody to Happy Joe's Pizza. Happy Joe's is a great pizza if you've never had the pizzas. The taco pizza, the BLT. You get very fat, but I've never. And so I went up to talk to him a little bit. You'd see that there's so many people around him, and he had to kind of take off. But I realized, wait a minute, if Andy Kaufman from Taxi could get here to Ottumwa, Iowa, it must be possible to get there. So, okay, that was very helpful to me.
Did you ever see Andy after you made it?
Yes. Oh, yes. Saw him out here and did a couple of comedy things with him. I mean, he was so brilliant. But, there's more opportunities now if you're from a small town in Mississippi.
Yes.
First of all, you don't have to be in Hollywood. You can make your own movie on your damn phone. Right. It's crazy. Back when I started, there were 3 TV networks. And you had to go do a certain thing, go on Johnny Carson, have Johnny Carson like you, get a sitcom, this. You made probably a lot more money all at once, but the opportunities were not what they are now. Yeah. Like you could do everything from outside Hollywood or New York. You'll have to come here sometimes for things, but you could create, and then people are like, well, how do I get an agent? That's not about getting an agent. It's about creating your own calling card. Maybe it's a short film. Maybe you and your buddies, everybody gets together and pitches in, and you tell one story on a short film or something, because it's really about storytelling. And then you show what you can do in your style. You learn to get better at it. I do a lot of these Comic-Cons, and there's groups of people that come to, especially the horror people. They're such loyal fans, but they get together and make these little movies too. So they're creating this content. They're also fans of Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever I did. But they have a community, and they still can work their jobs or whatever. But they have community, and they create stuff, as they move up the chain. And that's what that's how I would look at it. Do everything you can from the small town in Mississippi or Iowa. Everything you can, exhaust it. But school, whatever you do, theater, local, whatever, and then you move up the next thing. And you just gotta love it so much. You go, I'll do the shit jobs. I'll do anything because I love this, and I love the success is what my goal is. But I love the rejection. Everybody gets it. You get in with a community of like-minded people, and you share information. Well, there's something going on over here, something going on over here, and you just say I'm going to do this. There's no plan B. I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve this, and that's the best advice I give anybody.
That's good. Good
Pretty
advice.
damn good advice, brother. Also, I want to tell you that I think it takes a lot of balls to confess your sins in public. And man, you just lay it out there. How many people you've helped because of it, who knows? But I got to ask you a favor. I promised Dave that if you could mention where you're going to be playing in California, because Dave told maybe say where you're going to be doing stand up next. And
oh shit, where is it?
That's what I'm saying. If you know the dates, if you don't,
God damn it! Hold on, dude.
I had to say it because Dave will fucking kill me.
Yeah, no, Dave's what I say. He just got a hip transplant. Everybody knows they got hip transplants. They had no idea how much pain they were in before. They put it off. I know all these athletes too, and then they get the transplant. They're like, oh my God, it was really bad, and now it's not. Okay, let's see if hey, Dave here. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I should be more prepared. That's another. Preparation is not my. No, that's all.
Why don't you go to your website and look it up?
I don't know how to do that.
Tom
I don't know how to go. I honestly don't know how. My sister's not. Yeah, my sister's not here, and she's very younger and very good. Hey, there's Frank Pace, TV producer. I got that deal going. Yeah,
handsome lad when you were young.
Yeah, we all were, buddy. We all were. Okay. Let me just do one more thing. I'll try emails, see if he emailed to you, which I'm sure he did. Please be patient.
We got time.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
we're good.
Cut you right out.
Billy
brother.
can also, Derek can also go to tomarnold.com and
Yeah, I'll put
put
up.
it
But I did. I'm with you. Do this, after school drama for radio stations, after school drama.
Is it on your website?
Oh, here's a story. I did a story, and they'll know it. Hold on. I'm putting up stand up of Tom Arnold, brother. Okay, bring it to Santa Rosa.
leave all of this in.
Oh God, where am I getting downtown? I'm downtown Santa Rosa. Got that so far.
Okay.
Let's see if they list it. 150 movies. Talking about. I'm doing a little bit. So, it's a long. Oh my God, it's a brutally long article. We'll
get Derek to put it up on.
Oh, I see something. Barrel Proof Lounge. Barrel Proof Lounge on Mendocino Avenue, Santa Rosa. 7:30 and 10, March 7th.
Okay.
The day after my 65th birthday, and then I'm somewhere up in Sacramento at a country club today.
Hey, before we go, I want to ask you about Julia Louis-Dreyfus and the parking.
Yeah, where do you go? Okay. Well, I did a show called Jackie Thomas, and which was a very fun show to do. And it was my first sitcom, and I played a guy from Iowa. There was a former meatpacker who's now a big star in Hollywood, and so somebody was part.
That's the show Rosario directed, correct?
No, he was on Roseanne, wasn't he? He directed on there. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember. I'm sure. I definitely he did a great job. Whatever he did, there was many shows coming through, but a great guy, great job. I was working on the same lot as Roseanne down there, MTM, CBS, and someone parked in my parking spot. And I was mad. It said my name on my parking spot. I come in oh, I'm mad. I'm pissed. And someone parked in my parking spot. But it happens, And then the next day, someone parked in my parking spot again. So, I mean, what's the point of being in show business if you can't have a parking spot? And Clint Eastwood, someone had just parked in his parking spot at Warner Brothers, and he took his pickup and rammed the car out of the way. So,
yep.
I went out, I get a piece of paper, and I wrote, are you fucking blind? You can't read this? Is my part spot. Put it on the windshield of the car, went into work. All of a sudden, somebody comes in and said, hey, Julie Louis-Dreyfus wants to talk to you. We filmed next door to Seinfeld. So I come out there, they go, she parked in your spot. I go, oh, that's hilarious. It's fine. So I go outside. It's Julia, Alexander, Jason Alexander, and a bunch of people, Larry David, and they're kind of like a little gang out there. I go, hey, don't worry about it. No need to apologize. It's fine. And she goes, I'm not apologizing. In fact, I'm offended. I'm offended at you for this note. And I'm like, well, don't park in my fucking spot, dude. And it was like just super weird. So I called Roseanne down on the Roseanne show lot, and she takes a picture of John Goodman's ass on a Polaroid. She has a limousine driver like 400 feet up to my set. She's mad at Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She gets out of the car with soap, writes Julia Louis dry puss on her windshield. This is shit I would never thought of. Puts John Goodman's ass in there, and that was it. Well, that caused a big deal. And so we had been sharing equipment with Seinfeld. That was over. And they made, Billy Crystal made a joke about it at the Oscars. And I remember I was at People's Choice Awards, and Jack Nicholson came out and goes, hey, the thing with Julie Louis, is that supposed to be a joke or something? I go, yeah, it's funny. He goes, well, you need to make it funny. I'm like, oh my God, Julie Louis-Dreyfus is beloved. And so that happened, and she is beloved. She's great. She's great, by the way. But that's funny. And then we wrote that into the episode that we were shooting of Jackie Thomas. what just happened. Jackie Thompson parks in his spot. He has a thing with her. So, it was great fun. And I see they included Seinfeld, they did not want to talk about that, or she did, but they've included it in one of their compilation things. So it was funny. It was ridiculous. I'm sure we both thought we were right. And it's just a, good little story.
Wow.
All right, guys. I got to get the kids going.
Yeah, brother.
bet.
By all means, thank you so
Thanks so
much,
much.
Tom. Really great, man. Appreciate it.
We'll
brother.
see you up there in Santa Rosa the 7th this week. Thank you for
Happy birthday.
support. Happy birthday! Yeah, I'm lucky to be alive. I on my 65th birthday, I get to stop paying alimony, first time in 30 years, and I get Social Security.
Yay!
Seriously, it'll be a good day. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one.
Appreciate
brother.
it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
All
pal.
right, man. Thank you, boys.
Great guys.
Yep.
Bye now.
Great.
Guys. Lots of stories. Stories for years. Miles.
Yep.
Guy's been through a lot of shit.
He has been through a lot of shit.
And you wonder, you can love stand-up, and I get why he's doing it, but when you afford divorces, you're going to do stand-up, you're going to do whatever it takes.
Yep.
Two kids, pay the bills.
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was
great
a real
show.
good show. It was great.
Anyway, I think we've
We've done enough damage.
done enough damage today.
Thank you for looking in. We appreciate it. Don't forget the books, Lamar's Gamble, If These Lips Could Talk, Confessions of a Bronx Bookie,
And what else? We forgot one.
Combustible.
We forgot Combustible.
Combustible.
Yep.
Buy them all.
Buy 'em all.
Buy them and enforce them. Thanks for looking in. We appreciate it.
You guys need your own bookstore.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
we do. There would be nobody in it.
That's another venture we need. Another business
Be
venture.
well.
All right, be well.
We'll see you next week.